Hi. Sorry about the earlier link. It just froze on me for some reason. I hope people could join this other one. Hi, Oscar. Hi, Steve. It's nice to have you around. Yeah, my link imeleta shida bana. Something happened. I don't know what has happened. Hello, how are you, Princess JJ? I guess this is my former coach. Karibu, karibu. Asanteni sana kujoin. Nyinyi ni watu wa maana sana. So, um, we are running behind schedule na nimejua we only have a few minutes left. So, I'll go really quickly. We won't stay here for a long time. So, last time I remember we were talking about the school system and how different it is, how in the Kenyan system, competition is promoted and students tend to just be very individualistic and try to outdo each other, while in American system, it's not really about competition. Students are nurtured towards just getting the best of their knowledge and education. And I think that's an edge because when people just want to learn and pass the exams and get knowledge, they are at less pressure, you know, and then anyone can succeed the- regardless of what grades you get. Yeah, because in our system, we believe that if you are number last, then you are dumb, you're not bright. And I think that lowered people's self esteem and demotivated people, and people are less likely to study because just they thought they could not do it. While in many other countries with a different education system, students are encouraged to explore what their strengths are. In the current world, the most paid people are the creatives, people who know how to entertain, sports people, artists, um, and people who just can put themselves out there and entertain. It's no longer the doctors, the engineers earning high. So I think that mindset um, has changed, and people should not um, force or encourage their kids to only study to become engineers and doctors like we were taught. I think you just need to assess the kids' strengths. If they're good artists, arts can really pay. If they're good sports people, then sports can also really actually pay. All we need to do is support these kids, and that's what I've been seeing here. So one other cultural differences that I want to talk about. Welcome, Kellen, to the live. I'm glad you're here. So I wanted to really share one thing, which is a positive thing that shocked me. Like, I was at Appalachian State University in North Carolina, and in Appalachian State, it's in Boone. Okay. When I went to the university over there, most students were with their whole families. Like you'd find a boy who's been brought by their mom, their dad, their grandpa, their uncles, their auntie. You just find a lot of students here are being supported. Like, it doesn't matter that they're already in the university, their parents still visit them, they walk around, they play with their pets. um, while I think that is a thing that in Kenya, after parents drop you in campus, of which most people don't even get to be taken with their parents, you just go to the university or college. After you're there, then you're on your own. um, you just, most students end up starting to call their parents, ask for money, hey, dad or mom, I'm very broke, could you send me 100 Kenyan shillings or 200 Kenyan shillings for lunch or for dinner? It's totally the opposite of here. The parents are very invested in their students' welfare. They keep visiting. Like, dads and moms are really playing a huge role. According to what I saw in North Carolina, the dads are equally invested in the lives of their students, same as their moms. So even the dad will come with the mom and be with their university son or daughter. The whole day they just be working, taking their daughter to restaurants, and that's how they spend the weekend. Man, I was imagining if this was something we do in Kenya, how that would really make life easier for students in the universities and higher learning institutions. I think that most students in the universities are really struggling, and that's why most of them, you send your student in the university, then they start engaging in other activities. You know, um, they start abusing drugs and get addicted. Some of them just because they are idle, they are not guided, they start experimenting things for the first time. So you are at home thinking your kid is studying, but then they're being, you know, morally, um, I don't know how to put this, but they are not actually growing. So they end up, your son ends up coming back not looking the way they went to the university. And that is not their fault. It's just because the parents are withdrawn. Um, that's just my opinion. So I think one positive thing I have observed in the United States is the guardians and the parents playing a positive role in the lives of their sons and daughters, even in the university level, guiding them and visiting them and being with them throughout. Then, um, one other thing is, even if they're kids, it doesn't matter if they're in the university or they're in primary school, middle, elementary. If their kids have an event, let's say their kids are just playing a simple soccer game, mpira ile tu kucheza, their parents will travel from very far, wherever their home is, to just come and watch their kids participate in sports or swimming or singing, whatever it is. Parents take their kids' activities so serious, regardless of how old they are, even 18-year-old sons and all that. And I believe it's that support and love that parents put behind their kids is motivating the kids to do great things. So that's a big thing, because in Kenya, most parents don't are not that heavily invested in their kids' extracurriculum activities. Is because you never played soccer and your son is playing soccer, so you don't really care about what they're doing until they come back home limping from an injury. So I think Those are really big differences and things we can learn as Kenyans, as Africans, and parents and all that from this other culture. Being involved in your kids' lives and supporting them, being their number one fan before anyone else. Another cultural difference is the power distance. When I say power distance, is the teachers and lecturers to their students. Um, so one of my cultural shocks was when I came, I met one of our lecturers. Um, my personal mentor, Dr. Michael Opata, is a very great guy. When I came, and I remember him telling me, I used to call him Dr. Opata, Dr. Opata. And he was like, Bob, you know you're like a brother to me. Don't call me Dr. Opata. Call me Mike. And I don't know how I took that. I was like, no way, man. You're a professor. Thank you. We're here to support you. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Princess JJ. Coach himself is there. Thank you. I'm glad you're learning something from my experiences, Kellen. So I was saying that the power distance, like my own professor or mentor, somebody who has learned and gotten his PhD and postdoc and all that, wants me to recognize him as a brother. And this is somebody who's teaching me in my master's. I don't know, but I don't think this is something that could happen in Africa. Because in Africa or in Kenya, I was in Maseno University. I know there's Maseno University alumni in this live session. And you would go to try to look for one of your lecturers. Your lecturer is also just a professor, just like these professors here. But they'll be having an office within an office within an office. So there's a department, and then there is a secretary at the door, and then there is an office inside that office. So if you want to see your lecturer to ask them a question, then it's so hard because you have to go through the secretary who will ask you, who can decide to turn you back. But, and then finally, if you make it to the professor's door, the titles are already on the door. Doctor, MBC, PhD, MSc, blah, 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 before their name. So that already scares you. This is a very important man. And then you go there and you're already intimidated and you cannot ask questions freely. And even the little English sometimes will disappear because of that fear, It's not even respect, it's fear. And that is one big difference. Steve, you're laughing. You already know this is happening. Because in the US, the lecturers, the teachers, the professors, they want to relate with you at that lowest level, Their offices are open. You don't like they have a timetable whereby, for example, on Monday and Tuesday, they have office hours from 11 to maybe say 2 p.m. You just email him and say, hi, Mike, or hi, Sarah, if that's the name of your professor. I have a question. I would really like to walk into your office and talk to you about it. Sometimes you don't even need to write an email. You just go during the working hours, knock on the door, enter, and they'll be willing to answer any question. Some people will be like, I'm trying to follow whatever you're teaching in class, but I cannot hear you. Or it's because of the way you speak. You speak so fast and I don't hear this. Oh, English is not my first language, so I find it hard to relate with you. Yes, Oscar, Otile Black. Kenyan professors are just too proud. Yes. So these professors will walk you through the question that you have and take you through the whole thing. If you don't get it, they'll give you resources that can help you. They can even make accommodations, you know. One thing I didn't know in our Kenyan system is that, you know, in America, if you have a learning disability, I don't think we even have such a thing in Kenya, that most students are just forced to take in content. 1 plus 1 is 2. If you cannot say 1 plus 1 is 2, you're either being caned or you're dumb or you're punished, you know. But here they'll say 1 plus 1 is 2. Then most people will get it. Then there's this special group who don't get it, right? And then the teacher will be really intrigued to get into the bottom of why can't they understand like the other people. Then you're being helped. They get to know why you're not understanding. Then they realize, oh, this guy's brain does not work like anybody else. They may have a learning disability, so they refer you to other people, to counselors or, you know, people who can help you. So most people realize that they have learning disabilities and they cannot think or act like other people. And these disabilities may not be because they were born like dumb. No, it's just because maybe they have just some brain, you know. There's people who have different things like ADHD and a lot of other, you know, psychological, mental issues. And these people have like people who can help them. And when they are helped, then they become better students. Somebody who could not get 1 plus 1, if they are helped in a different way, then they can even become even the best students in class. So even during exams, special accommodations are put in place to help these students who cannot get the simple content. For me, I didn't know even I had like a learning disability. Imagine, after struggling for all those years in Kenya until I made it to the university, and then I come to this country, then I realize, oh, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story, Maina. So, there's this first time I went to do an exam. So it was, I don't know, was it immunology? The first exam I ever did in the US. It was a class with undergrads, you know, like I was doing masters, and then there were other students who are like seniors, fourth years, you know, who are also doing like honors classes and all that. So they are taking some of the classes that master students are taking. So we were in that room, and there's 12 of us, and no, not 12, around 24. And I was seated right, you know, at the back where the elders did. So I got my paper, and I was so good at immunology. Uh, Welcome, Jackson, you're just on time. And then while doing my exam, I was reading question 1. So I read question 1 and I understand this question. And then I think of an answer. And then I think how to write it, right? Then I go to question 2. Guess what? When I was in question 3, already 4 people are standing, submitting their papers. And I'm like, what? And these are undergrads, man. These are like fourth years. I'm a master's student. I think like I should be, you know. I know the speed of doing exam doesn't count, but I was so shocked. I was like, how did these people even read the questions, or did what happened? When I thought it was just an excluded case, within 30 minutes, half of the class had finished. I was still in question 3 out of 20 questions. And I didn't understand, man. I was like, what is going on? Is it that I can answer these questions? I'm just slow, you know? It took me a whole entire 1 hour 45 minutes to finish the whole paper. And that was 30 minutes after everyone was gone. It's not because I didn't know the questions. I knew nearly all the answers, But I just realized that is one thing I didn't know about that one of my professors told me. My professor, Dr. Opara, who's also Kenyan, he told me that, you know what, Robert? It's not, you didn't take too long because you didn't know the answers. You took too long probably because you might be thinking in a different language. I didn't even know those things exist, man. You guys, you can help me. Do you know if you dream in which language? Luo, Kikuyu, Swahili, English? Do you dream in a language? Do you think in another language? Or do you how does your mind work? These are things I never ever thought about in life, because in Kenya I just did things the way everyone is doing it. So in the US I was exposed to start learning about myself. So I was like, wait a minute, I actually don't think in English, because I'll read a question that I understand, I will convert that question to a language in my brain, and then I'll think of an answer. That answer will come in a different language, and then I translate this answer directly to English. So even the way the answer is coming out in the paper is different from like the way it should sound, you know? Like for instance, in Swahili, I would say, for instance, an example, mti huu ni mrefu. That means this tree is tall. But if I was to translate that thing directly the way it is, I would say mti, I'd start with the tree. This tree is tall. It would come different. I don't know if that is an ideal example, but sentence structures change if you're translating directly from one language to the other. So sometimes you may be explaining a concept. In your head, you know it, but the way Americans hear you, they might not even understand what you're saying because it's not in their appropriate English structure, the way they listen and read it. For them, when they're doing an exam, they don't even need to translate that sentence. It's going directly to the medulla, to the, to the oblongata. They're just reading that thing, and then the answer is coming right back, and they're just spitting the thing in the paper. So you first think in your mother tongue, translate it to English before writing. Yes, that's me now. I think in Luo. Sometimes I take it to Kiswahili fast. And then I write it in English. And it comes out so differently, man. It's poor English. But, you guys still think I know English. Don't worry. When you guys come here, you'll realize even that English is no. Yeah. Alessandra is saying being bilingual, trilingual, and more gets difficult when you have to use one language. Yes, I agree. Amisi is saying my professor was very right. That's why people from the coast find it hard to answer Swahili paper due to translation. I'm so glad you guys can relate. I'm really happy. I thought it's only me, but thank you. Thank you so very much. So being bilingual, trilingual, or having many other languages affect learning. And most people don't know. And that's why even your kids are maybe struggling in school. And that's why you even scored a C in a paper you would have gotten an A. It's not always just because somebody is smart they get an A. There's so many other technicalities. So my advice or my opinion or my conclusion to this matter is forget about all the grades you got in school. That does not tell how smart you are. Everyone is gifted differently, and your brain works in a unique way. I believe that you can do anything you put in your mind to and do the best job that nobody has ever done. There's this guy who is a current topic of debate in Kenya called Governor Joho. I think now he's a minister. Everybody knows that guy got a D minus or D in high school. And that is frowned upon in Kenya. When you get a D, you are dumb. You don't know anything. But this guy apparently is currently enrolled at Harvard School of Business and and is doing, I think, his MBA. Who would have thought, my friends? Who would have thought? What do you? Most people would still not comprehend what happened between transforming that D minus to getting an admission at Harvard. It's not the grades that dictates how smart you are. It's just how your mind works. If you believe you're dumb, your mind will not think. If you believe you're smart, you will surprise even the people who got A's in your life. So the take home for me, having come to the United States and learned firsthand how people think and write and do things differently, is that the brains work in different ways. Take time in learning about how your brain works. Once you know, then go with it. Accept the way your brain works and receive any kind of help you can receive, and you'll be unstoppable. After this is something I should not be proud of or even to share, but even in undergrad, Oscar is here. We were in the same class with Oscar. I didn't really used to get good grades. I had A's, I had B's, but I still had like D's. And my final honors class, my final class was, I think, yeah, I got a second class lower division. Something most people don't want to get in the university, right? There are people who get first class, and then this is what people say, yeah, these are the best. This is the best student. Then look at how that happened. After a while, I come to the US, I do my master's, and then I am taught that my brain works differently. I embrace this, I accept and do things differently. And just today, I think I was looking at my list and I got an honors in my master's. I nearly cleared the 4.0 GPA. So it's not because I'm smart or dumb. It's just because I realize that how my brain works. I realize that I am slow at learning. I'm slow because of how my brain interprets information and gives it out. But I realized one of my gifts is explaining things. So just because the way my mind is very simple, I can explain something to anyone and then anyone can understand that. So that's my strength. And that's why I even started this live channel for anyone to learn that it doesn't really matter where you are right now, what the education system has ranked you as. What matters is how you get to know yourself. Know how your brain works and you'll be unstoppable. I think that was the biggest take home from today. I didn't plan to just be preaching here. I had so much to discuss, but it seems like I only talked about power distance and the time is already over. Guys, I have so much to talk about, so little time. Hopefully, maybe I will have different dates. Maybe I should start going twice a week, but no, nitawabo. That will be too, Let's meet every Wednesday here, same time. I have so much to share, so much to talk about. Sharing my experiences can help to touch a life somewhere, to inspire, and to bridge these gaps. So there's a host. I'm going to host someone in hopefully the live session, but I still have so much to share um, about the question that I've been receiving. So the lady I'm hosting is from Zimbabwe, and she has been helping so many Zimbabweans apply for opportunities overseas. So not only to the US or maybe to the US, but she knows how to search for these opportunities, scholarships, job vacancies, whatever it is, and to help you put up a strong application and navigate all that. So this is a resource I'm willing to bring to this live channel. Remember to share my live and invite anyone who you think should hear this next live session. Please don't miss this exciting, amazing opportunity. After that, I may keep on talking about the experiences, but the other next session would be another an American who is multicultural. There are Americans from Mexico, Cuban, Europe. So this is American who is having other background from other cultures, and we'll talk about how um, so many things that we did not know as Africans, and will inspire you. We'll talk about robust topics, and I think that will also be a very exciting session. So please remember to subscribe, share my links, reach as many people as possible, and let's transform lives one person at a time. Thank you so much for joining. I am grateful for sharing the 30 minutes with me. There were so many things you could be doing, but you chose to be here with me and listen. So, Steve, Titus, Hamisi, Ali, Kellen, and anyone else who is live who was able to join and I did not mention, Coach Bobby and the family. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you, love you, and hope to see you next time. Thank you and bye. Peace. Thank you, Oscar. I hope I didn't forget about you. You are one of the best friends. Bye.